All righty. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm here with Brenda Mahan. She's Koyukon Athabascan. And many of you know me. I'm Angela Gonzalez, the owner of the Athabascan Woman blog. I'm from Huslia. My Danaka name is Hlada Dathna. And I'm so happy to be here testing out this technology, Zoom technology, with one of the people that I really admire, Brenda Mahan. So I first met you online, probably through Facebook, I'm not sure, but or through the blog. And then we met in person when she came to show me some of her beautiful artwork. And then randomly one day we just ran into each other at the beading store here in Anchorage. So I'm tuning in from Anchorage. So could you tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from and maybe where you grew up?
Okay. My name is Brenda Mahan, like you said. I was born in Galena, Alaska, to a single mother. I did have an older brother, and I was given up for adoption at that point in time when she was very young with 2 young children. So I was raised in Cordova, Alaska, and with a white family. So I didn't have grandmas and aunties to teach me the beadwork at all. So I kind of had to learn that on my own. I learned a lot of that through books. And then I found you. I found Emma Forsberg. I found Cindy Van Weesel, who is now passed away already. So there was 3 people that really helped me with my beadwork and learning about the Athabascan culture. And I think that's where we met, is through your blog. So when I Google Athabascan, you're the first one that comes up. And now I'm the second one.
Cool. Yeah. So some of the things that you've showed me before are your octopus bags. Those are super awesome. And then some of your wall hangings, they've been super awesome. One of the things that I admire about you is the way you've learned is really cool, like partially, learning from others, but you've really been largely self-taught. And yes, I know that's through a lot of trial and error of my own. I'm thankful that I have had my mom and my aunties and stuff like that who've helped me along the way, but I've also lived kind of like in a city far away from them too. So I've had to learn on my own, and I've had a lot of errors and trials, and I've also had to look at other people's work. So so you brought your artwork that you would like to
did. I brought some artwork. I do want to talk a little bit about how I learned. So one of the first books I purchased was Ann Gossel's. I didn't have a clue on how to do it. It was a very big mystery to me. I couldn't see any threads. I couldn't see I couldn't see anything. It looked like magic to me. So when I purchased this book, I really had to go every step by step by step. It was a learning process. I didn't start beading until I made a few things in 2004, and then I didn't really start beading until 2009 when I moved to Nevada. So I currently live in Nevada, and I do sell things at the Native Hospital, or I have. And then the other book that I've used is Catherine Atla's little pamphlet book also. They're very similar with all the patterns in it. I didn't have any patterns until I really started beading. I met my biological mother, Madeline Henry, when I was about 20. She didn't give me any patterns until I proved I was going to bead. So then she before I left Alaska, she gave me some of her patterns, several pages of her patterns that she uses. And so I use those today. The other book that I like to use that has the color is the Northern Athabascan Art. And that one is my Bible. It has all the beautiful colors and all the vines and all the leaves and the different flowers. So that leads me to my first bag that I've brought. And the 2 main flowers are from the Northern Athabascan Art book. So there's one flower, and the backside is the pink flower.
That's amazing.
So what I did was, in that Athabascan art book, I read about fire bags. I read what the material was,
Uh-huh.
what the straps were. I
Uh-huh.
read about all of that and about the sizes, what they were. So I kind of tried to replicate an old style bag.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they are anymore because we don't need them for flint or
Yeah.
fire stuff anymore. But I love it. So that's one of my favorite bags. I forgot to bring my octopus bag.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, you have to show one of the things I remember, I think I remember you learning was those technique of braiding the yarn.
Oh, yes.
Was that a really big challenge?
It was a very big challenge. So I tried to learn the round braiding.
Mhm.
I never mastered it. So I mastered just a regular braiding.
Uh-huh.
The round braiding was very difficult. I did try it several times and I gave up. So I have the regular braiding
You have
on.
to learn from, I mean, even if you see videos of people doing it, it's still like an art, you know.
It's very difficult.
Learning in person
Yes.
would be a little bit easier.
And I'm used to braiding my hair, and I can, you know, I'm a pretty good braider, but I could not get the round. I could not get the round braiding. I brought another bag. Like I said, I did try to go into a little niche of bags. So I've done an octopus bag. It's not yet complete.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of my purses that I've done.
Wow.
I don't think you can see it all, but someone else did the fringe. So I actually collaborated with someone who does leather work.
Yeah.
So he did the leather work up top, and then I did the pattern, the bead work, and then he put it together.
That is gorgeous.
I eventually want to use this one.
Yeah.
I haven't had the guts to do it yet.
Yeah, I know what you mean. One of my I have relatives of relatives in Bethel, and they had like these nice moose skin beaded gloves, and they never wore them. And that's okay. You know, they just really admired them and they didn't want to get them dirty and stuff. And she was just kind of joking, but she was like, I don't know how the people just use them for anything like cutting wood and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, that's just a regular thing in villages. So it's
so like I make other things like quilts. If people don't use it, I get mad. So I don't want it on the wall unless it's a wall hanging, but I want it to be used. So that's why I said I will eventually use the purse, the eagle purse. I don't like things, if it's artwork, that's fine. But if I make it like a bag or a purse, I want it to be used. So I have made several bags. I've gifted several of them, and I told them that you better use it. So they do use it. And then I do like the moose hide. I'm very partial to the moose hide. I will do a wool, but I love the moose hide. My latest mask is full moose hide, and it's got the dwarf dogwood flower.
That is gorgeous.
I don't know if you can see it all. I'm trying to. It's three-dimensional. So
what's on the bottom? Like those circle things on the bottom.
So those are bear claws.
Okay.
So these, I know they look like a footprint, but to me, it may be spiritual. That's my bear paw. That's what I call my bear paw. And those are porcupine quills.
Wow.
And then I tried to make these, I should have layered it a little bit more, but to make it look like a bear claw. But it smells so good.
So is this going to a museum, or is this your personal collection?
So this one there's a Facebook group called Breathe, BREATHE . And two ladies in Canada started that group to make masks during the pandemic. So this one is actually, I'm hoping to go into a art show. I believe it's going to be in Oklahoma. They're still working on the details. The first mask that I created for that group was purchased by the Smithsonian. And of course, they're closed right now still. So they plan to photograph it. I don't know if they're going to have a virtual show at first, or if they'll wait till they open back up to have a show in the Native American Museum.
Wow.
So that was very exciting. That took several weeks to make that sale, and lots, paperwork, signing over my mask, and then I had to say goodbye to it. So that mask is the one that I'm wearing in my cover on Facebook. That's the mask that I'm wearing that got sold to the Smithsonian.
Cool.
So I'm very, very proud to say that I eventually will have something in the Smithsonian.
Awesome.
So
pause for 1 second. If anyone who's tuning in wants to ask any questions, we'll see if we can get to them, but we'll continue a show and tell for a little bit. But I'll look in a couple minutes for any questions that you might have. So go ahead and continue with the show and tell.
Perfect. So then my next, the next mask that I made is for my husband. He has stage 4 lung cancer. And so he eventually wants a tattoo of this pattern. So it's the white ribbon. And then in the middle is the raven that's flying up.
Wow.
And it's got a Trinity Celtic knot in the middle because he is Irish.
Okay.
And this is on wool. And then the edging, my grandmother did a style of edging with the little, what do you call that? Triangle. Hers looked a little bit more like a tree. So I've, what do you want to say? I modified it a little bit. So I didn't do hers exactly. I just kind of took the concept and then I modified it a little bit and just made the triangle. So that actually, that pattern is from Madeline's mother, Lily.
Okay.
Lily Paul Henry.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So her beadwork was awesome. I've never seen it in person. I hope to maybe someday. I believe Madeline has a couple of pieces. I actually, let me take that back. So I have seen her beadwork in person because she, when I met Madeline, they gave me a piece of artwork that they both worked on and they gifted it to me. Those pieces were actually made, she made about 12, they made up 12 of them together and then they put them in the governor's mansion.
Okay.
So
So
they
that means go down to Juneau to see it.
Yes, yes.
Or request.
Or my house.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they made about 12 of them, all different colors, all different, the same pattern, but all different colors and all different backgrounds and all that, but the same pattern basically. Yeah. And I believe one of my cousins, Amy Van Hatten, maybe has one of those that's, I don't remember if it's finished or not, but I think she has one of those that's maybe not quite finished also. So there's a couple of them still around. So yeah, that's exciting. I'd like to see more of her artwork, but I don't know how much is still around. And then the next mask that I made also was for my husband. We don't live in Las Vegas, but we do live in Nevada. And so this is the Las Vegas Golden Knights logo.
Okay.
And we love hockey, of course, because we're from Alaska. And so they have a hockey team now. And so I kind of created my own, I went with their logo and then I created my own edging and so he wears these. So this is all wool also.
So does he does he use it? Like use it, or is it more like?
So he wore the first one. He did. He wore the first one to treatment.
Okay.
And I don't believe he even got a picture of it, but he did wear it to treatment. They are more for show. And so I tried to really tell him that they're more for show, honey, but he did wear the first one to treatment after I finished it. So they're pieces of my heart.
Yeah. Oh.
So I think that's all I brought for show and tell if anyone has any questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions now.
Yay. Okay.
Let me see. So you shared a little bit about your masks, and you want to share a little bit about your Bitzahulani or your Cuspik?
Oh yes. So I've made several Cuspiks. I've made several children's Cuspiks in the past, actually when I lived in Alaska before I moved down here. And a couple years ago, I made one for my stepdaughter, one for her daughter, and one for her daughter's doll. So the mother's was teal and the daughters and the doll were matching purple. And I had never made one for myself. And I know how you like pink and I like purple. So I
like purple too.
Me too, and I like pink. But I finally decided I'm going to make myself a Cuspik. So I'm going to try to stand up to show it because I am very proud of it. It is the Friday's Cuspik pattern. So it is a pattern that I used, and hopefully you can see me.
Yeah, I can
see. I did the edging a little bit different, and you probably can't see it because I'm not tall enough, but I did the edging of the dark purple. And it all has beadwork on it.
Yeah.
So my cuffs have beads on it.
Wow.
You can't see it unless it shines.
Yeah.
But on the rick rack, I put the purple beads. I did it on the hood and I did it on the bottom and the cuffs. So I love it.
Oh my gosh. So extra, but in such a good way.
Yes. So I had to wait for winter down here to wear it because it's hot. Still hot down here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting it on and showing it to us. And that's probably, I don't know any other Cuspik makers who've added like beadwork like that. So that's pretty
So
awesome.
my stepdaughters also, I didn't do as elaborate. I just did her cuffs. Because you know how you're always moving around and that may come off anyway. So I only did her cuffs, but I'm a beater. What else am I going to do? Yeah.
Do you have any advice for either new beaters or beaters who may not have access to, aunties and mothers and grandmothers?
Yes.
Getting started and not giving up?
I would say, like I said, I did a couple of barrettes back in 04. It was hard. I really had to, the instructions were a little bit difficult for me. So I really had to just keep at it. And I do use the 2-needle method. And so I really just had to keep at it and keep trying. So I learned, don't crunch in too many beads because then it makes them pop up. And if you do, you can take your pliers and break a bead and put them back together. So I've learned a little bit of tips and tricks that way. Books, I read a lot of books on beadwork. So I have done a lot of other books from what I've shown you, just regular bead embroidery. I didn't realize it's bead embroidery. It's not magic. It's not, it seems like magic, but it's just bead embroidery. So my sister, who I was raised with, she's white. She now lives down here in Nevada. She started beading. She did one of the flowers that's on the black bag. She started this flower. She hasn't finished it yet, but she's doing a great job. So you don't have to be Athabascan. You can try it anyway. I do prefer the two thread method though, 2-needle method.
That's the way to do it. Just kidding. I do 2 beads too. That's a common thing with beaders. Do you use one needle or 2 needles?
I did try one, and to me, you couldn't get the round curves as nice and circular as you can with a 2.
Yeah. So Arlene Farmer from Huslia asked a question, and she wanted to see what kind of pattern you use for the masks.
Oh, so the first masks, or my husband's masks, I just drew my own pattern. Okay. So I just put it to my face and drew my own pattern. The Dogwood Mask is actually a pattern online. I believe it's called the Best Fitting Mask. If you Google that, I believe that's what it is. And it has seams at the top and the bottom. So it is actually, it fits straight to your face with a little bit of space. Okay. So that's the pattern I used for that one. For the first mask for the Smithsonian, it's the same pattern as my husband's. I drew it myself.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So fun. I really enjoyed the mask. I think I'll make another one probably. I don't know what style though.
Okay.
I'll have to figure out a pattern for it. I could maybe do this one again, but I get bored easily. I don't like to make things twice.
Yeah. One of my friends asked me to, well, she made her own fabric mask, and she asked me to do a little patch for that she could sew on or clip on or something. So, that's something I don't know if I'll have time to do that, but maybe I'll do that. So.
Oh, you could do it. It's small.
Yeah.
So I haven't done any moccasins or, I want to eventually. I did make some moccasin tops actually, and they went to a lady, I believe in Fairbanks. I think it was one of those raffles or someone passed away and I donated. And so those moccasin tops went to someone in Fairbanks, but those are the only moccasin tops I've done. I haven't made any moccasins. I have a lot to do.
Yeah.
I have to finish my octopus bag too. I wish I would have brought it.
Well, maybe you'll have to come back or maybe send a picture and I'll share it or something.
Okay. Yeah. I should have brought it. It's out. It's in the other side of the house and the dogs are locked out right now.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and sharing on the Athabascan Woman blog. It's been really awesome to see your journey as a beater and just the way you share and you're willing to learn. And I just really appreciate that because when we share, it helps other people, you know.
Yes.
And that's one thing I continually try to do on the Athabascan Woman blog. So do you have any final things that you want to share?
I just want to thank you for being out there. For the rest of us, there are a lot of adoptees. That weren't, I was at least raised in Alaska and lived there for 40 years. And so you being out there and Cindy being out there and Emma being out there help us learn about our culture. So I want to thank you for putting yourself out there. I know a lot of our traditions are oral and I've missed out on them. So your blog has helped and other people who have helped me along my journey. So thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you.
Hey.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. And I hope you guys have great rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.